So let's go ahead and talk about mapping your path to success. In this webinar, we're going to talk through some real logistical things that you can be doing as you look at what the future looks like for you. So really, the first thing is reflection and assessment. And there's a guy that we follow. His name is Keith Cunningham, and he's a really funny older gentleman that he does financial classes primarily, where he talks about business, finance, and accounting. But one of the things that one of his books, it's not here, but it's called The Road to Less Stupid. One of the things that he talks about is making sure that we're spending time in silence. And we keep on hearing this over and over and over again in a lot of things that are coming out. We're so overstimulated right now that when it comes to your goals, you're physically getting off a ship and you're used to running at 70, 100 miles an hour. Go, 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 go. There's a guest issue. There's a report that needs to be sent in. There's something you got to pick up. There's something you got to deliver. And I think it's really important that we first slow down and reflect. So self-reflection is really our key to understanding, your progress, and then identifying where you want to grow. So really, for me, the most constructive things for critical and honest self-assessment first for me is writing. Oh, cool, Todd. Hey, Todd, thanks for joining us. So first is writing, journaling, writing, grab a notebook, do something that helps you put down on paper what you're feeling. So one of the things that I just read recently, it was about a graphic designer, believe it or not. And he was saying that one of his professors, one of the things that he would do is every single night they had to write down, they had to create 300 different designs every single night. Think about having to do that as your homework. So the thing that he noticed is they didn't even start getting creative until after about 100 designs. So our mind is filled with so much noise that it's really important that you sit down on this journey. And if you want to type it out. If you want to keep a Word document on your computer, if you want it to be a piece of paper, even if it's 5 minutes before you go to bed, reflect on your experiences, your progress, your emotion that you're going through, your challenges. Write down everything to allow yourself really this introspective journey on this walk that you're about to go on. It's a massive life change to go from a ship to shore. I remember going through this so specifically. And for me, when I got off of ships, I had a brand new job. I was in a brand new city. I had lived on ships with my now husband, but it was different. We were having to manage paying the light bill and getting a mattress and sharing a car. So we faced a lot of very different things, cooking meals and figuring out things like he didn't like this and I didn't like that. So being very, very non-judgmental and just observing all of the things that you're experiencing. And then the next point is about self-reflecting questions. So really make sure that you're asking yourself really specific questions to assess your progress and your growth. Reflect on what are the things that were your biggest achievements on your time on ship, because your mind is so smart. Your mind is a survival mechanism, right? You're supposed to fight or flight. So as you're going into times of stress or transition, your mind is going to take you back to something on ships. It's going to take you forward to be afraid. And really make sure that you're taking moments to reflect and assess what are the things that you'll walk through, what are the obstacles that you've gone through, and then what do you want for your future? And I think we talked about this in the last one, that really, truly, you have to go, okay, I want to become a business owner, or I want this. Let's look at the visual merchandising position with Starboard. I want to do this. So how do you evolve your skills? How do you learn what your gap is? And making sure that you're super, super honest with yourself about where you are today and where you need to get to go. So if you don't understand LinkedIn, if you don't understand social media, if you don't understand some things that are going to be critical to your exposure and your career progression, then be honest with yourself about it and say, hey, this is what I'm going to work on. And then next is feedback from others. really making sure that you're seeking feedback from trusted individuals, mentors, peers, colleagues, and be really, really smart on who these people are. So look for people, and we've talked about proximity is power. So look for people that are within a network that you respect them. They have great experience. Look at old hotel directors that you worked for. Look at old leadership people who have moved from ship to shore, and reach out to them and say, hey, could you spend a little bit of time with me and talk me through your perspective on some of the things that I need to improve on or focus on? And people are going to love, adore, and respect you for asking those questions. And then goal tracking. So I think that you guys need to decide what are the tools that you want to use. And we're going to talk to the tactical bits of this, is what are the things that you tactically can do to set goals for yourself. Monitor your progress. There's apps out there. There's spreadsheets. There is actual paper document templates. Really make yourself step into what your goals are and what you want. And I always, some of the people that I coach, I'm like, first thing you need to be doing is, and I'm a huge Post-it note person. I wish I could show you guys my wall so you understand the level of intention that I have. I was going to say crazy / intention that I have, is that if I have a dream or I have a goal or I have something that goes onto a Post-it note, that goes on my wall, and I see that and my Post-it notes float around my house. So I have them in a wall on my bedroom. They move to my mirror so that I have to look at it in the morning. And then once I've accomplished it, then I move it to my closet. So inside my closet, I have this whole wall of all these Post-it notes of the things that I've achieved. So start thinking about what are these things that you're going to put the intention, you're going to put the vision out there. We talked about a lot of times the things that we don't do is we don't even allow ourselves to dream. We don't allow ourselves to have the vision. We go, this is the job I'm going to get. It's crappy. I'm not happy. Well, no, put that number out there that you want to make. Put that job out there and the emotion that you want to feel around it. And you're going to be shocked at what comes to you. So what I did in this webinar was I'm putting a book. Before I was putting the books at the front, but I want to give you guys a book that I think would be related to what we're talking about. So I highly recommend the book Grit. It's called The Power of Passion and Perseverance. One of the things that Angela Duckworth talks about in this book is she talks about this concept of grit and how it can contribute to our journey of personal and professional growth. So our ability to be resilient, to have grit, and she does research around it, and she looks at people that have grit and that don't have, well, and it really wasn't what her research finds. It wasn't about intelligence. It was about people that have resilience, that have the ability. And I would argue that most people that work on board a cruise ship have a level of grit that is unlike most individuals, that make sure that you don't lose that as you transition off of a ship and as you get into the real world, and you can experience disappointment, you can experience reality. So those things are just really, really important as you start to realign with what you want the future to look like. Goal realignment. So you may have been working on board a ship, and your goal working on that ship is, buy a house, travel, save some money, I don't know, whatever it may be, pay off debt. You went into this journey with an intention and with a goal. And for some of you, those goals started evolving. You got inspired by the people around you. Maybe you didn't intend to buy a house or an apartment, but because you met somebody who had done it and they told you their story, then it became one of your goals. So you had these goals that you had set for yourself, and now you're shifting these goals to land. So your experience really helps shape your goals, but goals are not good enough on their own. You have to make sure that you have a strategy to be able to achieve them. Yay, Gretel, thanks for joining us. So you want to make sure that you have what you need to be able to achieve them. So first and foremost is, and this goes back to our writing that we talked about before, is that make sure that you are reflecting on what has changed in your priorities. And so now you got the apartment, you got the house, you got whatever that thing was that you wanted to achieve. start and say, okay, what's my priority now? Do I want to have a kid? Do I want to get married? Do I want to pay off debt for my parents? What's the thing that I want next for myself? And remember that just because you put a goal on a Post-it note, just because you put something on a piece of paper, it doesn't mean it's not going to change over time. As you change, as you develop, your goals are going to change. Your alignment, what you really want, is going to change. So be okay with doing that check-in, doing that writing, doing that reflection on what actually your priorities are. And then next is, so we've aligned our goals, we've aligned our purpose. We've said, okay, this is who I want to become and this is what I want to do. And you're going as specific as putting a number out there to, hey, this is the minimum amount of money that I want to make. I don't know how I'm going to get there. You may not start at that point, but you're like, hey, I'm going to at least take a step to take a step to take a step. And then start taking those goals, the purchasing of the home, the paying off of the debt, and say, okay, this goal, I want to pay off debt, for example. Let's say that that's something that's one of your goals, that you're going to say, all right, I have this $20,000 in debt. I want to pay that debt off. So I'm going to break that into smaller steps to be able to get to that goal. I visually always keep that high level goal as the thing that I am looking at. I don't overwhelm myself with the steps to get into the goal, because for me, that becomes, I get into this dialogue of stress and disappointment. I take the smaller steps and I put that on what my daily agenda is. So I go, okay, to be able to get to this goal of paying off this debt, first thing, I'm going to take a class. I'm going to watch a 1-hour YouTube today about paying off debt. So just take these teeny tiny little things. And you guys have seen my spreadsheet that I use on a daily basis with my goals, is that I have 3 goals that I'm putting out there that are my goals that I'm focused on. So every single day, I make sure that on my schedule, I have something that's related to that goal. And this strategy really helps you take your goal and have it be more manageable, and allows you to celebrate teeny tiny incremental steps of process. So I want you guys to really think for a second, like, what is one of those goals? What are those things what's one of those things that I really desire in my life? Be it a child, be it a home, be it paying off debt, be it earning a certain amount of money, be it going on a trip. Think about what that goal is, and then write down what is the one thing that you can do today to make progress towards that goal. So think for a minute. Allow yourself a minute to reflect. I'm going to think about one of mine. Okay, I know one of mine. One of mine is I want an Airbnb in Mexico. So this was called my net one property. That was my nickname for it, is that I said, I don't care if I make $1 off it a year. I want an Airbnb that has money coming in. So for me, the thing that I'm going to do today is I'm going to go and I'm going to watch a YouTube. There's a guy that I follow that has Airbnb stuff. And there's this new Airbnb strategy that's coming out that's very interesting. So I want to learn something more. So that's my one thing in my progress to move forward to my goal. But I'm not losing sight of the goal. I'm making progress and moving towards it and making sure that my intention is there. So you guys think about yours and think about what that thing is that you could get to that place. And then prioritize and focus. So make sure, we have a tendency to put spaghetti on the wall, to put 15 goals that are out there. And that can be very dilutive. So make sure that if you are the type of person that you're putting 15 goals out there, that you're aligning those goals in terms of priority. So I would say first thing for me is I want to make this dollar amount. Second thing for me is I want to, have a stable place to live. That would be the second thing. And then maybe that Airbnb is like number 10 on the list, and that's okay. But I'm making sure that on a daily, weekly basis, I'm making tiny steps towards things. So make sure that you're focusing on the goals that are most important for you right now. And debt is a great example of one. If you have debt, like, Don't brush it under the rug and make the minimum payments, you guys. Make sure that you're focusing, you're listening to all Rachel Cruz, Dave Ramsey, you're listening to all these people who specialize in debt repayment, and you're watching it. You're not hiding from what that thing is. And as you're doing that, you're making progress. And then when you're able to take that Post-it note and put it in your closet or put it in that space, and then you're able to look at that place and go, man, I'm kick-ass. Look at what I did. Look at the things that I've knocked off that I forget to give myself credit on is huge. So that's really about prioritizing and focus. And then embracing flexibility. So this book that you'll see here, Mindset, is really, really phenomenal. It's a very sciencey book. So if you guys want, find a summary of it. You guys on YouTube can find summaries. But in this book, Mindset, Carol Dweck is a doctor, and she talks about the power of having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And really, individuals in life who have this mindset that we can grow, that we can change, that we can adapt, and we can get better, how it's directly related to our ability to embrace challenges and fulfill really, truly our full potential. And you guys know people like this in these two mindsets, is that you have somebody that's a growth mindset where they are given a challenging situation. And if you were a manager on board a ship at any point in time, you can identify this person anytime that you say, hey, I need you to learn how to cook this meal or do this dance or do this thing. And they're like, all right, I'm going to figure out. And they get fuel from that growth. And you have that other individual that you say, hey, I need you to do this thing that's hard and outside of your wheelhouse. And they're like, well, that's impossible. I mean, I just don't know how you could expect me to do it. And that's a fixed mindset. And so they researched even small children, that they gave them puzzles that were beyond their maturity, their age group. And in these, they looked at how the kids reacted. And those of the fixed mindset is they got frustrated with the puzzle, and their frustration was to the point that they themselves perceived who they were as a failure because they couldn't do that thing. The individual with the growth mindset, the child with the growth mindset, got fuel and passion and energy over the frustration. So this book helps us understand is that things are going to happen on our path to meeting our goal. And we have to be so flexible. We have to be so agile to know that things are not going to go perfectly the way that we need them to go. But we are agile, we're smart, we are growth oriented, that we are going to realign, readjust. So say that Airbnb, say Mexico has major issues with violence or with investors or something like that, that we're going to go, okay, maybe the Airbnb wasn't meant for Mexico. Maybe it was meant for Costa Rica. And we're going to realign with whatever our dream is. Or maybe it wasn't an Airbnb. Maybe it was a real true rental property, something like that. So just going, all right, this is interesting, observing what happens and being flexible to what the outcome is. All right, so next slide. So the next thing is action planning strategies. So I love this point because this is the one where it's really rubber to the road. So as you're taking your Post-it notes, as taking your goals, and you're putting those into milestones. So you're saying, hey, I want that Airbnb. I want that amount of income. And then you're breaking down identifiable, actionable steps that connect to that goal. This helps when you sit down every single day, you are not wasting your day. And our team, we just watched this video. If you guys haven't seen it, I would highly recommend you take a look at it. It's this concept of big rocks. And it's this gentleman that he has a container, and it's just basically talking about the priorities in our life. So when we take our big rocks, when we take those big goals and we put them into the container first, and the visualization, this is really cool. When we put them into the container first, that's the stuff that gets done. When we put the sand into the container first, not everything fits. The idea is you're putting your rocks into the container and then the sand is going in, and the sand is the rocks are the big things that move you forward in life and reach fulfillment for you. And the sand is representative of those little tasks, the text messages, the emails, the getting back to somebody, the distraction that takes up time in your day that doesn't help you do the big things. So if you have some 5 major goals, mine is always three major goals that I'm focused on for the moment, is that I'm breaking those down into actionable steps of the things that I have to do to be able to achieve them. And then you can put those on a roadmap that basically gives you, hey, every single quarter this year, every single month this year, however you want to break it down, this is the thing that I'm going to focus on this month. And be really, really kind and gentle to yourself that, hey, if something happens and you don't get to it this month, that you're going to go, okay, but I did do these things to replace it. It's going to move over to next month. So by setting a clear, specific timeline for your goals, it helps you become intentional about your time, what you spend your time doing, what you spend your time focused on, and where you want to go. So you're either in charge of if your goals are going to happen or if other people. Oh, thank you, Todd. So that Big Rocks video is phenomenal. And that was by, who is the gentleman? I can't think of, it's a training program. It's a really cool training program. You guys will see it. It's probably in the thing, but thank you, Todd. The really idea behind this is Stephen Covey. Thank you. Amazing. I did that training many, many years ago. And it was just phenomenal for me to help to understand that everybody gets distracted by the sand in our lives. But the more that we break down what our goals are into these little bite-sized pieces of things that have to happen, then this propels us forward. So if it's you want to get to a certain dollar amount of income, you're putting that Post-it note out there, you're focused on that number, whatever that number is that you want to make a month or a year. And the second that you are, and then you're breaking down the steps that are going to get you there. So you're going, okay, what industries, what businesses, what job could I find that could pay me this amount of money? Okay, well, I can find something that's this amount. I'm going to find something that's this amount. I'm going to find something that's this amount. And then you being able to bridge the gap, maybe you find a job that pays you 25% of that, but then going, all right, I'm going to do a side hustle that is this. I'm going to create a digital product that is this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a rental property that brings me an income. That you starting breaking down these things, and this shifts your entire personality and who you are to really knowing that you are responsible for achieving that goal. Nobody else. It's not Ship's fault that you got off. It's not somebody's fault that they didn't give you the job. It's you. You have the ability to get to that number, and you're going to do the work to figure out what are the milestones and the actionable steps that you need to take to get there. And then as you go into, if money is the most important thing, if paying off the debt is the most important thing for you, you're going to prioritize what are the things first and foremost. And this is something as simple, and we talked about this in the budget, in the Finance 101 class, is that, this is saying, all right, this is when I want to make a month. This is what I actually need to survive every single month. And then this is how I'm going to bridge the gap between the two. So that really, truly is going to help you optimize what you want. Your goals become more achievable when you have actionable steps that get you to them. So the book that we've talked about previously is, and we did a whole webinar on Atomic Habits, is this is by James Clear. He has a ton of content out there, interviews that he's done. He's actually a very dry person when he speaks, but he's very logical. So I would really encourage you is that as you sit and you think about your action planning strategy, read a book like this, listen to a podcast by James about Atomic Habits, and going, okay, one of your goal should not be, I want to lose 10 pounds. No. This is not a big goal, friends. You don't want to lose 10 pounds. I want to live a healthy life. That is your goal. That is what moves you on the inside. 10 pounds is a tactic to get to the healthy life. So if you say, I want to live a healthy life, that enables me to get to 100 or something like that. You are then putting down the tactical strategies and steps that get you say, I am a person who is healthy. What does that look like? So a person who is healthy, looking at their life, maybe they don't eat fast food. Maybe they eat vegetables 3 times a day. Maybe they listen to podcasts of people about fitness and watch videos about it. Maybe they understand their brain health. So really creating habits. Maybe your habit was going and getting that sugary, icky Dunkin' Donuts coffee every single morning. And you're like, that's part of my routine. It's just what I do. I go and get my Dunkin' Donuts, my Starbucks, my whatever sugary stuff. And all of a sudden your goal becomes that I am a healthy person. Then you're being able to say, okay, I've established a habit of this. What could it look like if that sugary drink in the morning becomes a green juice or becomes an omelet or becomes, but you're feeding yourself content that's helping you get to that higher level goal. So again, to go back, this setting your goal is, there's tactics to it, but there's also emotion tied to it. So what does it mean for you to make that amount of money? What does it mean to you to be able to pay off that debt? When you're paying off debt, you're living a stress-free, life. Money isn't tied to you. You're not owing somebody. And I think about the emotion that's connected. And so over time for me, my goals have really become connected. There's a tactical goal, but there's an emotion related to it. So with Ship to Shore is that my goal is, I want to get people jobs, but my goal is transforming lives. That's my intention. And that's the thing that motivates me and gets me up in the morning. This is not about just getting someone a job. This is about changing their life from an economic, from an emotional, from a purpose-driven place. So the more that you're able to lean into that, then this helps the actions actually happen. Okay, overcoming challenges. So as you guys do this is all not sunshine and rainbows, friends. So as you're doing this, you're going to have challenges. And this book, The Obstacle is the Way, is a really great read, talking about challenges and our ability to overcome them. So first is, like we talked about, embracing the growth mindset, is you have to know that challenges are really, truly an opportunity for you to grow. If you think that challenges or things that come into your path are, oh my gosh, why has it happened to me again? You're the victim. You're always going to stay in that state. But you need to be neutral to anything that happens to you. When something great happens, you celebrate. You go, this is wonderful. When something bad happens, you're able to say, this is interesting. What am I meant to learn from this? Is that every single thing that you can perceive as a setback is just a natural part of the journey and is an opportunity for you to learn and grow and pivot. So the more that you can dig into your growth mindset versus your fixed, that's going to motivate you and help you stay resilient. And then next is really problem solving skills, is that when you're in that mindset of growing, you're an insane problem solver. So you are able to analyze why something got, and I think I've talked about this in some of the webinars, is that we had this business deal last year that it was laughable how this business deal went to crap. Like everything was in line. It was a company that we were buying. Everything was good. It was all bump, up. The team was ready. Everybody was excited. We were preparing to take over the employees, take over the hardware, take over all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, all these things started coming in the way. And I'm like a problem-solving guru. So I'm throwing everything that I can at this to make the fire, I'm imagining it like a fire, and the fire's going down and going down. And I'm like throwing everything that I can, trying to feed that fire. And it just wasn't working. And I'm going, all right, this is my surrender. This wasn't meant to happen the way I thought it was supposed to happen. And it all ended up working out in the end. But in that moment, I had to, at some point in time, going, oh, this is interesting. I almost became a silent observer of the chaos that was happening. It was like a legal document got lost. Somebody else ghosted us, wouldn't call us back. That something happened with the bank. This other contract got canceled. All these, this company we were supposed to buy, this guy came out with a YouTube video that said what a disaster this industry was. The guy that was selling the company came out with the video. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got saved from something. So really, truly being able to say, all right, challenges are going to come in our way. Barriers are going to be on our path. But us being able to understand that it's there for a purpose, and it's something for us to learn, either how to overcome this barrier or learn to accept maybe this wasn't going to go the way that I intended it to go in. And then next is self-care practices, is that as you're going through challenges, so you have this big, massive goal that your heart and your dreams and everything is focused around. So let's look at the debt one. Let's say that you're working your butt off to pay off this debt. You're focused everything. You're cutting your meals. You're cutting your expenses. You're chipping away. You're listening to all the podcasts. You're doing all the things that you have to do. And then something happens. Your car breaks down, for example, and you have to use that credit card again, or you have this unexpected expense. Is that really making sure that you are very, very kind to yourself in these moments, that you're listening to what you need, you're being mindful of what you're trying to be communicated, and you're just seeing these setbacks as, okay, this is interesting. Maybe I need to be driving a car that's not going to break down. Maybe this goal of my debt, it's still going to be out there and I'm still going to achieve it, but I have to take care of the car breakdown is a very materialistic, simple one, because, right, you can take the bus or Uber it, but think about your health. Like if you're trying to pay off debt and then all of a sudden you have some health issue that you need to spend money on, is making sure that you're nurturing yourself and taking care of yourself. This really allows us to have strength when things get difficult. So making sure that you are creating a system around you where, yeah, you're achieving, you're trying hard and you're staying focused, but you're also taking care of your body and your mind. And then you're also creating a community around yourself, to what we talked about earlier, of support and accountability. Is then when the fire starts burning, when things start going awry, is that you have a support system around you who can motivate you, who can guide you, can remind you what is the truth. When, you know, the business deal goes south and I go, oh my gosh, I'm such a failure, is that I have people in my life who I can speak to who don't say, yeah, that was a really crappy deal. I thought that, like, from the beginning that was going to be a mess. You don't want those people. You want those people in your life that are going to go, you know what? It wasn't meant to be. This was what did you learn from this? And helping guide you through what the intention was of this moment of challenge, of failure, of stumbling, of whatever it may be. So make sure that you're connected. And I have an amazing group of women in my life that these women, it's 13 of us, we celebrate each other's wins, but we also will not let the other one accept a loss to be a reflection of ourselves. It's some group of people or mentor. We have another mentor in our life that is phenomenal. She's probably in her late 60s, and she's been through it all. So finding somebody that has maturity in business and resilience is something that helps you really keep your perspective. So again, this book, The Obstacle is the Way, is really, really interesting wisdom on taking obstacles and using them for growth and success. So take a read, and there's a lot of quotes from this book that are on the internet. So if you have obstacles, if you have challenges, make sure that you're pulling some of these quotes off and you are putting it on your desktop, on your computer, that you're writing it next to your Post-it note. or you're writing it next to on your sheet, just going, hey, this obstacle is a gift. It's something that I'm going to learn from. What's next? Accountability and support. I have a bunny rabbit. I don't know if you guys know that, but he's eating a piece of paper here. I have an amazing bunny rabbit. But accountability and support. So your network, like I said, my 13 women that are around me, is really going to define what your success is. So if you don't have a network right now of mentors, of resources, start thinking about this. And, put it as one of your goals. Say, hey, I need a circle on LAMP. I need a group of people that are going to encourage me and rally around me. Tell me, start focusing on the places that you can find that. People that have been in your life in the past, leaders from ships who you've been around, friends. But the most important thing is, as you're looking at what this support group looks like, make sure that they align with your values. So that whatever you find your value system to be, and I find that these support groups, it's much easier among women. Men tend to have this, like, don't tell each other too much. There's a little bit of a defensiveness there. There's a little bit of a macho something I see with my husband, that really, truly making sure that you're looking at, and even you guys, if it's not an in-person mentor, make sure that you're looking and referencing to people that have these mentor-like characteristics, and then start emulating who those people are in your real life. So first and foremost is mentors. So make sure that you find people that have a similar path that you've walked. So maybe it's somebody who's already gotten off of ships and found tremendous success, and just saying, hey, I'm getting off of ships. It's a really scary season for me. Could you walk with me on this journey? And you know how many people are excited to help? So many. And I can give you guys a list of probably 15 people that have gotten off of ships, that would be thrilled to be a mentor to anyone. And put it out there. Put it out there on social media. Put it on LinkedIn and just say, hey, as I'm going through this transition, I'm looking for people who are going to surround me and support me. So if you have these skills, I would love to connect. People want to help. They want to offer their wisdom. They want to help you navigate challenges. And the mentors in my life have helped me not make mistakes because they've already made those mistakes. They've gone, oh, one of our mentors in our business is, she's like, oh, Barbara, that happened to me in, 1983. Let me tell you the story. And she tells me about breaking up with a business partner. She tells me about being in business with her husband and what they navigated. So being able to have people that look in the rearview mirror and have perspective, their guidance can really help you to overcome obstacles. I can call my mentors and say, all right, Roz, I'm spinning. Do you have 15 minutes for you to talk me through the situation? And I'll talk her through it. And she'll go, okay, yep, that sucks. That's tough. But this is how you get through it. This is when this happened to me. This is how it's similar. So those people can help you stop the spinning sooner, can help you stop going to people that are the wrong people for you. Next is networks. So wherever you are in the world, make sure that you're building a strong network of like-minded individuals. So start at some community associations. So if it's a small business, if it's the young professionals, if it's somebody that in the sea trade community, which is the cruise line community, make sure that you can network, you can exchange ideas, you can collaborate, you can learn from one another. I'm part of a women's president's organization. I'm with a group in my church. I have my other amazing group of 13 women. I have mentors. I have a women's travel association group that I'm in. So I'm looking to those networks to give me support, encouragement, so that they can encourage me and not lose sight of my goals. And then next is, don't forget really online platforms, that there are webinars, there's educational materials, there's industry specific resources. You got to get uncomfortable and show up to these events by yourself. Sorry. I know it feels awkward and it feels weird, but you got to show up and you got to put yourself out there and ask for help. is you have to say, okay, and find a Facebook group, find a LinkedIn group, and say what you're walking through and say, hey, navigating this situation, is there anybody? And see who are the people that engage and support you. And then last but not least is another amazing book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So this is an oldie, but a goodie. This book is by Stephen Covey, who we talked about with the big rocks, is that he talks about what are the things that help us cultivate success, and really the importance of accountability and support in getting there. This is one of those books that I would argue you need to read once a year, if not once every other year. And if you don't have the time, I believe every person has the time to read, but find a summary of the book on YouTube or on some online platform. There's a platform that's out there right now where it's book summaries that are 15 minutes long. Start listening to what those summaries are. And even if you don't have the chance to read it once a year, you can at least listen to an overview. And what's your other choice? Your other choice is that you're scrolling on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram Reels, on LinkedIn, and you're thinking about, oh, what was me? Why can't I reach my goals? Well, it's because you're doing that stuff and you're not spending time networking and connecting and reading. So really, really make sure that you guys have a lot of resources in the reading material here that's going to occupy you. But if we're to summarize about really, truly what this goal setting and this path to your success looks like, it's reflecting and being super gracious about what has happened in the past and really going, what do I actually want? So next is your alignment and saying, hey, as I go into this next season of my life, what am I actually looking for? Next is, once you've defined what happened in the past, what you're actually looking for is what actions relate to what I want. If it's, finding a job that pays X number of dollars, if it's focusing on a relationship, if it's focusing on purchasing something, if it's focused on paying something off, is creating what are those things that are going to help me get there. You might be really far away from some of these goals, but you can at least take micro steps and document those micro steps to get there. Next is challenges, is that when something happens that stops you from getting to your goal, you knowing how you're going to react and prepare to keep moving forward. And then last but not least is accountability and support, is making sure that you have a kick butt circle around you that is, when you are doubting yourself, that they are speaking life into you and they're saying, no, this goal is there for a reason. This is not about losing 10 pounds. This is about being a person who lives a healthy lifestyle. What does a healthy lifestyle look like? Maybe I don't smoke. Maybe I eat well. Maybe I exercise. That exercise doesn't have to be, CrossFit training. That exercise could just be taking a walk, getting sunshine. So really, truly, you guys, is that breaking these into palatable, smaller chunks of information that help you make micro steps into who your bigger self is meant to be. It has worked for me. It has worked for many of the people on my team. But that said, it's not an easy journey. Transformation is not an easy journey. It's something you have to work at every single day. So I hope you guys, last but not least, is that please remember that this community is meant for collaboration, is meant for growth together. It's meant for us being honest and open and transparent about what are the things that we're working on and struggling through. And, I'll tell you guys, for me, is that, hey, we have a huge contract with a cruise line that we're waiting on. And every single week they say it's going to be this week. And we're like, we have all these jobs in the pipeline to get to our mission of transforming lives. And every single week we're banging our head against the wall and trying to be super patient with how long corporations take to get through legal. But that doesn't change the fact that I have a bottle of it was funny because I have a bottle of champagne that I'm waiting to open when we sign that contract. It was sitting in my wine cabinet. And last week I was like, why is it in my wine cabinet? It needs to be in the fridge because I'm going to have to open it in 1 second and I don't have time to chill that thing. So it was almost like this teeny tiny thing that I was seeing it on the cabinet and going, oh no, you're not ready to even be in the fridge yet. So I put it in the fridge because I'm like, oh, you're so close. You're so close. I'm going to put the glasses on the counter. So it's funny little things like that, but it's a mindset of certainty of what I know is going to happen, what I know we're meant to achieve. And so for you guys, it might be, it might be the bottle of champagne to celebrate this thing that you know that's going to happen. But what are the other things that you can do that can really truly celebrate and have certainty in what you want your goal to be? And I have a friend who she has, and I adore her, she has a check that she has written and it hangs up by her desk. And it's of this amount of money that she wants to make on a real estate deal. She's a realtor. And so and it's a big number. I'm like, go girl, if you achieve that, you're taking me out for caviar. So she's got this check that's up on the wall and I'm like, good for you. So every single day she's looking at this and she's going, I know it's going to happen. I know that deal's going to happen. And so making sure that you guys shift your mindset into the bottles of the champagne, into the checks that are on the wall, and having certainty for that your goals are not something that are unachievable. It's something that you just have to put action behind and certainty behind. So thank you guys for showing up to this. I want to open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions and anything that you want to share or ask. Right now, we're still hiring for the bingo host position. The challenging position because it's a cruise director or activities manager who lives in the Florida area, Pompano Beach specifically. So if you guys know any former cruise directors or activities managers in Florida, send them our way. And then we have these Starboard traveling visual merchandising positions. We're looking for one in Europe. We're working for one in the Caribbean. What are other locations, Christian?
Caribbean, Europe, South America, we're pretty much global in all major.
Yeah, probably one in Northern Europe in that area, right? They're essentially, so if you guys know anybody that has any retail experience, we have a couple people on the call today who are going to be presented to the client. So fingers crossed that it'll be success for them. And Starboard is a really phenomenal brand, and we're really excited to work with them because they believe in what we're doing. And I think that speaks volumes because they want every former crew member to have success. And so we love that. We know the CEO very well. So you guys just continue to keep people in your pipeline because remember, our goal is to provide employment for former crew members. And this also, you have a massive network under you of former crew members that you know, and you can give the gift of a referral to. If it's not you, then you can help and support and guide somebody, whether you invite them to a webinar or whether you refer them to a job. This heart of gratitude and of giving is something that never costs us any money. And really, truly, we actually get more in return when we do it. So I want to open up for questions. Are there any questions, concerns, anything anybody wants to add today or questions you may have for us about the future? Ivy, unmute yourself, my friend.
Hi. Well, first, let me thank you for the amazing site as always. These webinars have been very inspiring for me at least, and I believe for the rest of the ex-crew members in the same situation. So just picking up in a couple of things you said, something that really worked for me since we have to learn to have all this time in our hands, right? And sometimes we do procrastinate, we do get lost a little bit. We just, we realize, okay, it's the end of the day and I haven't achieved the goals that I made for myself. So something that works for me is to create a schedule, like your friends and family are gonna think you're crazy because you're like, oh, 1 to 2, I'm gonna watch YouTube videos about financing, and then 2 to 3. I mean, it sounds like something like a crazy person would do, but it really works, at least until you get into a rhythm. Because on the ship, you have to do these things, right? You're forced to. You have the safety drill at 9 o'clock, and then you have a meeting at 6 p.m. I mean, that is a flow, right? And we have to find a way to create this similar flow on our daily basis. So that's something that worked for me. And just something that I thought was interesting when you said now in the end that we have to believe our goals, of course. But something that I like to do is to, when I really want something to happen, I talk about those things like it already happened, you know. When I'm talking to my friends, it's not if it's gonna happen. No, like I'll talk about it like it already happened, and it works for me as well. Like last year was a difficult year. I was going through a lot of changes, and that was something that health related that I really, really, really wanted to happen. You know, I wanted to be 100% recovered, and every time I would talk about it, or someone would talk to me or ask me about it, I would talk in the future. I would talk like, well, you know, I'm already recovered, and it didn't happen yet, but I know it will. So that's it. I would talk about this situation like in the future. And yeah, it happened, you know. So that was a lesson learned for me to start doing that with every single big goals that I have. So,
yeah, that's amazing. You're so right. Our words become a reality. Our words are powerful. Like, and I believe it. I've seen it. Is that and I'm the first one to correct somebody. Is that when they say, "Oh, what do they say? I really want this thing. I want this job, or I want this thing," and I'm like, you will have that job. But people really, when you correct them, they hesitate. You can see the discomfort in them. They're like, I was like, no, say it again. You said you want that job. How about you say, I will have that job. I will have that. And they're like, they can't even get the word out. And I'm like, I know it's uncomfortable to do it, but keep practicing and keep doing it. You have to convince your mind. You have to convince your body that this thing is going to happen. And be it money, be it house, be it a child, be it whatever, you know, it's, we really want to have a child. No, and say, no, I will be a mom. Like having certainty around what it's going to be. And that also makes the journey feel so much better. So I love that, Ivy. Thank you for sharing it. Think about your language, people. It's so, so important. Catch yourself, correct yourself. And it's like saying, who versus whom, or whatever, those grammatical things. You start correcting yourself really, really quickly and noticing when other people do it. And you'll start looking at other people's lives and going, oh, look at their language and look at what they're living. And you'll see that the people that are speaking in certainty are living their dreams, their goals. Nothing is out of reach for them. And the people that are speaking in lack and desire and grasping at what they want, they're in misery. They're in misery. They're never getting to it, and they don't understand why. And I laugh because my kids have the blessing and the curse to be around me all the time. My son, every time because he's very much like me, anytime he goes to like a raffle and puts his name into the thing, he's like, oh, I'm going to win. And boyfriend, he wins those raffles left, right, and center. And his sister, I'm like, look, what? I'm like, he has the certainty that he's going to win, and he wins. He won some like Bose headphones that were like $300 the other day from some realtor at a fair. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this poor realtor thought they were going to get business out of this. And she gave headphones to an 8-year-old. So I don't know, just have certainty around your language. I love that, Ivy. How about anybody else? We have just a couple minutes left. And guys, also be open and transparent. Email us, reach out to us. If you're struggling, and what we're talking about is just not even your realm of thought right now, you can't believe in what is going to come, then just say it. Talk to us about it so we can encourage and support you. That's why we're here. So don't have fear. And again, guys, keep your eye out for any new job openings that are going to come out in the next couple weeks. And we will be talking next Wednesday. So thank you guys. Have an amazing week. And thank you for spending the time and investing in yourselves. Appreciate you. Bye.